This is what happens to moron liberals, radical leftists, who think this is some big game. There's a guy named Matthew Miller. Ever hear of Matthew Miller? Of course not. Well, Matthew Miller went to North Korea, and he ripped up his visa. He said he'd had enough of the United States, in essence. So the North Koreans put him on trial. They said they convicted him of committing acts hostile to the North while entering the territory of the North under the guise of a tourist last April. The guy's now pleading for his release. He was sentenced to 6 years hard labor, and when they mean hard labor, there's no color TV, no three squares, hard labor, like eating worms and tree bark and 16, 18 hours a day, digging holes and filling them back up. It is hard labor. It's North Korea. No ACLU lawyers, none of it. This fool was a U.S. citizen. He was angry at America. He goes over there, rips up his visa. They take him into custody. They put him on trial. They convict him of hostile acts against North Korea, sentenced to 6 years hard labor. I look at these poor men who've been decapitated by the Islamo-Nazi caliphate cockroaches, and your heart goes out to them. The British man who was just decapitated, his family said he went into these areas to try and do good. These are do-gooders, quote-unquote, do-gooders. The Islamo-Nazi cockroaches, the North Korean inbreds, the do-gooders mean nothing to them. We're all the enemy. Don't they get it? I guess they don't get it. It's not like marching around the White House. I hit this too fast. I want to tell you about this guy, because it's becoming illustrative of too many people with these so-called human rights groups, and they go into these war zones or they go into these tyrannies, and they think they're going to be treated with open arms. This guy, I'm sure, who went to North Korea, thought they were going to embrace him because he's ripping up his American. He's ripping up his visa. He's from America. Hates America. Like I said, this isn't like protesting in America. You go into these regimes, that's it. North Korea's Supreme Court on Sunday sentenced U.S. citizen Matthew Miller to 6 years hard labor for hostile acts 2 weeks after he and two other detained Americans had pleaded for help from Washington. The two others are a completely different story. I'm talking about Miller. Miller becomes the second American serving hard labor in the North amid accusations that he is, that the North Koreans are using them to extract political concessions from Washington. The 24-year-old was arrested in April after he allegedly ripped up his visa at immigration and demanded asylum. So he demands asylum in North Korea, figuring they're going to embrace him, which they didn't do, like the Russians embraced Snowden. This guy's not Snowden, but you get my point. Oh, look at this, some guy who hates his own country. Well, guess what? We hate everybody who comes into this country without an invitation. He committed acts hostile to the North while entering the territory of the North under the guise of a tourist last April, the state-run KCNA news agency said. Pictures published by the news agency showed a somber-looking Miller dressed in a black polo neck and black trousers, sitting and standing in the courtroom dock, flanked by two uniformed guards. A photo of the evidence table showed what appeared to be Miller's ripped-up visa, as well as his U.S. passport, a tablet computer, and a smartphone. Now, they allowed him to speak to CNN because they obviously want to get to Obama, and they want concessions for this guy. He said, "My situation is very urgent. I think this interview is my final chance to push the American government into helping me." So a guy like this puts all of us in a position where we're supposed to go to the North Koreans, hat in hand, on our knees, some massive concession, because this jerk sought asylum in North Korea and ripped up his visa. So, what should we do? I say we can use back channels diplomatically. A little that'll do. And try and get him out. Where's that basketball player? What the hell was his name? The Chicago guy with all the rings? Dennis Rodman. Yeah, well, maybe we can send him over and his little buddy, that fat little slob head of North Korea. I say that with all due respect, the inbred. And maybe he'll get him out. But this is a warning to all of you hate America first types who think you're going to find Shangri-La in hell. I don't recommend it, because you may wind up in very, very serious situations where we can't do a damn thing about it, like Matthew Miller. And I'm sure his family is just devastated. That's another thing. You have a family? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And by the way, while I'm on this subject, I'm sick and tired of I've turned it off, of watching cable where we keep interviewing politicians about what we should do with the Islamo-Nazis and the caliphate. That's a caliphate there, in the caliphate. What should we do to them? And they debate and they talk and they talk and they debate. Get a declaration of war and bomb the crap out of them. How about we fight like it's World War II? Hey, I like that line. Like the Greatest Generation. Apparently, you folks in the Greatest Generation weren't great enough. Somehow we have figured out different ways to fight wars. It's just amazing to me. Only by the air, only by the air. Then by necessity, that means more civilian, by reality, that means more civilian casualties. So how's that supposed to work? We're going to get them from the air, but no civilian casualties. We need people on the ground to tell us where to bomb. Amazing. We didn't need all these people on the ground to tell us where to bomb during World War II. Should we bomb Dresden? Yes, I think we should, said the British. Should we bomb Tokyo? Yes, I think we should, said the Americans. And on and on. Well, we can't do that. Well, then I guess we're not serious. How do we allow 20, 30, 35,000 Islamo-Nazi cockroaches running around in kid sneakers with towels wrapped around their heads and using what looks like Army-Navy store camouflage jackets and pants? How the hell do we allow them to threaten us? Come on! In my humble opinion. This is crazy. There's no... Will the time come, do you think? Well, we'll learn how to fight these things all over again, because we've certainly lost that idea.